Trials. 10 reasons God allows trials. Believe it or not, God does allow those things in your life. And that's the one thing that you learn in life after you've been here for a little while in the world, is that, like Sandy was saying, we're living in a broken world. And sometimes we just think that we're the only broken thing, that we live in a world and we're a broken thing. And so we go throughout our life trying to hide the brokenness of ourselves a lot of times. A lot of times there's trials that nobody knows about. You ever been through a trial and nobody knew it? You just never talked about it because everybody else has got their trials, and so you're listening to their trials, and nobody wants to hear about your trials, you know. And my sister, my older sister Sherry, is in stage 4 heart failure, and so she called me today, you know, and when somebody's talking to you like that, you don't want to talk about your little things. You just don't want to do that, you know. You want to listen. And my brother got a permanent port for his dialysis. My older brother Mick. People are going through not only just physical trials, but they go through mental, emotional trials. I pass a guy every day going to work up there on the corner of 6th Street who lives in one of these places where people that can't work, have mental, emotional problems, live. And he's always standing there on the corner every morning. Anybody else, you see him there? Always there, walking, talking to himself. And this morning, he was just really letting somebody have it. Nobody there. I mean, I didn't see anybody. But I think he did. And so there are people that's going through things like that. Could you imagine being a person that's seeing people that are not really there? But we're all like that if you think about it. Sometimes we're trying to impress people that don't exist. When you really think about it, when you live your life, even people that's died. You've had somebody die, but they're still there. You're still trying to impress them. You still talk to them. You still think about them. They're still in your life. Good or bad, you're still dealing with things, and you just, sometimes we don't want to talk about it. But God allows those kind of things. That's the point. God, He allows those things. And it says in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9, my grace is sufficient for you. My strength is made perfect in weakness. That's a good thing to know, isn't it? It's good to know that, you know, I'm going through something and God knows about it, but obviously God's allowing it to go on for some reason. Blessed is a man who perseveres, or a woman, under trial. And here's the point. There's actually rewards for people who go through these trials. Believe it or not, there's reasons, there's rewards. He says that he has been approved and he will receive the crown of life. That sounds good, don't it? Sounds like something really good. The crown of life, and you'll get a band and a personal t-shirt with it, you know, so it's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. You're like, all my life, I've gone through these trials for that t-shirt, you know, and so now I've got that t-shirt. Number 2, God comforts us so that we may comfort others. If I don't know about trials, if I've never suffered anything, if I've never gone through the valley, you know, if I've never had a bad day or a bad week or a bad year. Some people have bad years, the whole year, you know. But if I've never had that, I can't understand you. I can't sympathize or empathize with your problems if I've never had any. I don't like being around people like, we call them perfect people. They're not allowed here, by the way. We don't allow any perfect people here. We refer them, to that church down the street that doesn't exist. That you go down there and you see people standing around like they're in church. You know, they're talking to other people who really aren't there in the same church that's not there. And so, who comforts us in all of our troubles so that we can comfort those who in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. So it's good to be around people who have gone through trials, who've been through things that are maybe similar to what we're going through, and God's helped them through it. and they made it through to the other side. Now they can help you with your problems. So trials enable us to better help others in their trials. And so God allows those trials in our lives. He allows you to have a hardship so you can help somebody else with their hardships, no matter how difficult it is, no matter how bad it hurts. There's a reason for it. There's something in it for you. Number 3, don't throw away your confidence. Sometimes we think God's picking on us, don't we? We think sometimes God doesn't like us. Sometimes we think we're cursed. And we've done something, I'm not sure what it is, but I must have done something because this is horrible what I'm going through. But when you realize that God has allowed it, that God still loves you, that he's not picking on you, he's just trying to teach you something. He's trying to help you be a better person. He's doing this so that when you meet that person in your life that needs that kind of help, you're available for them. You're there for them. So don't throw it away because you're going through it. To reveal what we really love. Sometimes, and I like people you ever hit rock bottom? Anybody here tonight? I don't know if you got, some rock bottoms here. Yeah. Maybe you're still there. I don't know, I like rock bottom people because they know what good is. You can never know what good is until you've had bad, right? You just can't know. You don't know when something tastes good if you've never had good food. You ever grew up with somebody who couldn't cook. They don't put salt in nothing, pepper in nothing. They don't spice it up. And so when you go to a restaurant and you taste really good food, you're like, oh my gosh, this is wonderful. And everybody else says, no, it's worse than McDonald's. This is terrible. No, not for me. It's good. It's good for me. It's the best I've ever had, Somebody said, matter of fact, I think it was Joey. Joey here tonight? Where's Joey? Joey here? Joey, where's Joey at? There's Joey. Joey said, Joey's like, what? Come on down, Joey. Now, Joey said that our biscuits on Sunday morning are better than Tudor's. That's true. And then that part's true. Yeah, that's really is true. So we have really good biscuits on. I like hearing that stuff. I think it's wonderful. And so trials are connected to rewards. And here's what Isaiah said. He says, this is God talking. If you want to hear God speaking, listen to what he's saying. For my thoughts, God says, are not your thoughts. Neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. That's why we want to go to God, because he's able to help us with our trials. We just sung that song, that last song. Boy, it's when you see him hanging on the cross and you realize how much he suffered, and he did that for you and me, we can never really complain about any trial we go through. I've never been nailed to a cross. I've never been beaten like that. I've never been whipped like that. I've never experienced any of that. Hanging naked in the public square. He was naked on the cross, bleeding, pain, crying. And people were laughing, spitting on him, and stealing his stuff. But he loved them people. He loved every one of them. He said, God, forgive them. Why? I just think they're ignorant. I just really think that's what he said. They don't understand what they're doing here. Number 5, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you. That's what God wants for you. And not to harm you. God's not out to get you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Isn't that a wonderful thing? It's nice to know that you've got a future. I think so. Jeremiah 29:11. It's all part of God's plan. Everything you're going through, it's just a part of it. It's just a part of it. Just take comfort in the fact that God knows about it. Number 6, Proverbs 3:5-6 says, trust in the Lord. Trust in him. With all your heart, not just a little bit, all your heart. Never rely on what you think you know. Remember the Lord in everything you do. And what happens? He will show you the right way. He'll help you through. He'll help you out of the trial. He'll help you see through it. He'll get you all the way. He'll wean us from our dependence on worldly things. That's where your trials come from. They don't come from God. They come from the worldly things that we come into contact with. Things, people, places, and things. People, places, and things. And so sometimes you got to get out of Cincinnati, Carla. You got to get down here. and experience some new stuff. So, number 7, there's not only a purpose and reward, but he says, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. God likes us when we're like that. God likes us when we're at our lowest. God likes us when we're humble, when we've been humbled by life, by worldly situations. Most gladly, Paul says, I will rather glory in my weaknesses, that the power of Christ may rest on me. Isn't that good? I'll just go through the trial. I'll go through the tribulation. I'll endure the pain because I know that he's working with me. He's doing something for me through all of this stuff. And on the other side of it, it's going to be better. Number 8, it helps us to stay dependent on the Lord. If I don't need money, anybody need money? Anybody? Does anybody don't need money, right? I mean, you need money. The Bible says it's the love of money that is the root of all evil. But it's not money. Money's not evil. We need money. We've got to live. And so, if I'm never needing money, you ever think about people that's got so much money that they couldn't spend it in 10 lives? There are people like that around us. They couldn't spend it if they tried to spend it. They've got so much. But they still die of overdoses. They still die of suicide. They still die of loneliness. They still die of all kinds of stuff. Because you see, that's not the answer to your problems. Money is not, it's not the answer to your problems. A relationship with the Lord, that's the answer to your problems. It really is. To keep me from becoming conceited because of these surpassingly great revelation, Paul says, there was given to me a thorn in my flesh. Now, I'm not sure what that is. Some people say that he was going blind. Some people say he had an addiction issue. We don't know what it was. He don't really talk about it. But it's possible that he did. He had some kind of issue that just was reoccurring. It wouldn't go away. It came back, and God says, you know what, I'm just going to let you keep it because I think it's good for you. It'll keep you dependent on me. It'll keep you coming back to me. So there's reasons for it. Number 9, before his downfall, a man's heart is proud. It's proud. But humility comes before honor. That's just the opposite. Pride goes before a fall. Humility comes before honor. It's interesting, isn't it? How that works that way. Number 10 says this, so be truly glad, therefore there is wonderful joy ahead, even though you must endure trials for a little while, James says. These trials will show your faith is genuine. It is being tested as fire tests and purifies gold, though your faith is far more precious than mere gold. So when your faith remains strong through many trials, it will bring you much praise and glory and the honor on the day when Jesus Christ is revealed to the whole world. That's going to happen. Number 8 says, you love him even though you have never seen him. It's interesting, isn't it? We do. Though you do not see him now, you trust him. And you rejoice with a glorious and inexpressible joy. That's a wonderful thing. That's faith. That's all about faith. Trials teach us what we are. They dig up the soil. I'm getting ready to plant my garden. Julie has the tomato plants and the little planters, and she's got one named Bob. One named Bob, a little plant, because what happened, he bobbed up around the other ones and got bigger. Bob did. And she's like, oh, it wasn't in his little pot. It was just growing up beside of I'm getting out of here. I'm growing up. I'm going to be something someday. And so we named him Bob. That was a good name, Bob. And so trials teach us what we are. They dig up the soil and they let us see what we're made of. That's what trials do. Either bad or good. It just shows us what we are. And if it's bad, we just need to improve, right? It's the stuff that we need to work on. A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. That's why I say people who have had rock bottom in their life, they're better people all the way around. I love people that have hit rock bottom, and begin to rebuild their lives from that point. Being on a spiritual path doesn't prevent us from facing darkness. You become a Christian, it doesn't mean the trials are over. It just means there's going to be some different ones. That's what it means. But it does teach us how to use the darkness as a tool to grow. You ever had a parent that was the bad parent? Anybody have bad parents? Maybe, maybe they wasn't bad, maybe they were just ignorant. Could be, One or the other, I don't know. But my point here is, sometimes you learn from their wrongness. I don't want to be that kind of parent, right? Yeah, I would rather have learned from good parents. I had pretty good parents. I mean, when I was a teenager, I couldn't wait to get out of there. But now, looking back, I miss my mom and dad. They're both gone. And all the thing I really remember now is all the good stuff. Finally, I'm just remembering all the good stuff. I don't remember the bad stuff anymore. But being on a spiritual path doesn't prevent us from facing darkness, but it does teach us how to use the darkness as a tool to grow. Even bad stuff in your life can become a tool to help you grow from. And so it works both ways. God's what? Good. He's good. Oh, he's good. And he allows trials. He just really does. And for good reasons, right? Good reasons. Let's stand together this evening. Guys are going to come and they're going to anoint you this evening. Your altar's open. Come on up. We're going to anoint you this evening. If you want to pray, got something you want to pray about, somebody you want to pray for, come on up.